You're asleep. The house is still. Your body is weightless. You're deep in that quiet, heavy sleep where nothing exists. Then, bam! A bolt of pain tears through your leg. Your calf locks up like steel cable. You shoot up in bed, gasping, grabbing at your muscle. It's tight, rock solid, won't move. You glance at the clock. 3:02 a.m. Again. Sound familiar? If it does, you're far from alone. Millions of people, especially over 50, are jolted out of their sleep by the same intense, unpredictable pain. Nocturnal leg cramps. And strangely, they seem to strike most often around 3 in the morning. But why? Why does your body spasm like that, just when it's supposed to be resting? Is it dehydration? Low magnesium? Bad posture in bed? You've heard those before. But what if I told you those might not be the real reasons? What if the answer was buried deeper, in your nervous system, in your sleep architecture, in a process your body goes through every single night, but that even most doctors rarely talk about? And what if recent scientific studies were finally connecting the dots? In this video, we're going beyond the guesswork. We'll break down why these cramps strike in the middle of the night, not during workouts, not while you're active, but while you're sleeping. What's happening between your brain and your muscles at 3 a.m., and why that window in your sleep cycle might be the perfect storm. And the little-known vitamin that's showing stunning results in brand-new clinical trials, something your doctor might not even know about yet. And most importantly, what you can start doing tonight so you can sleep without fear of waking up in pain. Because if you've ever lost sleep to leg cramps, if you've ever woken up frozen in agony, this might be the first time you finally understand why and how to finally take back your nights.
Now, if you're thinking, okay, sure, maybe this happens to a few people, but is it really that big of a deal? Let's zoom out. Studies show that up to 1 in 3 adults over the age of 60 experience nocturnal leg cramps regularly. That's not rare. That's not occasional. That's millions of people, every single night, waking up in pain. And here's what makes it worse. For some, it's once or twice a month. But for others, it's every single night. They live in fear of sleep, afraid that just lying down could trigger that sudden, stabbing pain in the middle of the night. Some try to fall asleep sitting up. Others develop anxiety just from the thought of going to bed. This isn't just a cramp. It's a chronic, disruptive force that wrecks your sleep, messes with your mind, and chips away at your quality of life. And most people, they don't talk about it. They brush it off. They joke about getting old. They try magnesium, stretch a little before bed, drink more water, but the cramps keep coming. Even doctors sometimes dismiss it. It's just a muscle thing. It happens with age. Try staying hydrated. But when you wake up night after night, muscles seizing, heart racing, drenched in sweat, that's not just a muscle thing. That's your body trying to tell you something. The truth is, nocturnal leg cramps are one of the most underreported, undertreated sleep disruptors in adults over 50. Yet because they often leave no trace by morning, they go ignored. But you know better because you've felt it. You know the dread, the helplessness, the way it robs you of deep rest and makes you anxious the next night and the next. So if this affects so many people, and the impact is this serious, why aren't we hearing about effective solutions? Well, maybe it's because most of the common advice just doesn't work.
Now, maybe you're thinking, wait a minute, I've been stretching, I've tried magnesium, I even upped my water intake, so why am I still getting cramps? You're not alone. Most people dealing with night cramps have tried all the usual remedies. They stretched before bed, They drink more fluids, they eat bananas, some even go down the rabbit hole of expensive supplements that promise the world. But let's look at the science. Magnesium, the big one. Magnesium has been the go-to cramp solution for decades, and for good reason. In theory, it helps muscles relax. But here's the problem. Study after study has shown that oral magnesium supplements don't consistently reduce leg cramps, especially in older adults. One review in the Cochrane database looked at multiple trials and concluded there is no strong evidence that magnesium is effective for preventing nocturnal leg cramps in older individuals. Why? Because low magnesium isn't always the cause. In fact, many people with normal magnesium levels still suffer from cramps. It's not a one-size-fits-all fix. Stretching and exercise. Some people find mild relief from gentle calf stretching before bed, but again, the data is mixed. In one study from Australia, 68% of participants said stretching either didn't help at all or only helped a little. And here's the kicker. If your cramps are being triggered by nerve misfires during deep sleep, no amount of stretching is going to stop that signal. You're treating the muscle, but the problem is in the signal to the muscle. Electrolytes, bananas, sports drinks. Yes, dehydration and low potassium can contribute to cramping in athletes or people sweating heavily. But if you're getting cramps at rest, in the middle of the night, electrolyte loss probably isn't the root cause. Drinking 3 Gatorades before bed isn't going to stop it. And eating a banana might help you sleep, but it won't prevent that 3 a.m. leg lock. Quinine. A dangerous past. For years, doctors prescribed quinine for leg cramps, and it worked for some. But the side effects were no joke. Irregular heartbeat, thrombocytopenia, a blood disorder, and even sudden death. That's why the FDA banned quinine for leg cramp treatment in 2010. So if you're still seeing it marketed for cramps, stay away. It's not worth the risk. So, why do these remedies fail? Because they target symptoms, not systems. They try to calm the muscle, but not the misfire that caused the cramp to happen in the first place. They don't regulate calcium inside your nerves. They don't stabilize neuromuscular signaling during deep sleep. They don't restore the subtle balance that your body loses as you age. But vitamin K2 might. It doesn't just patch the symptom. It addresses one of the core dysfunctions that caused the cramp to happen in the first place. That's what makes it different. That's what makes it worth talking to your doctor about. And that's why you've probably never heard about it until now. And just to be crystal clear, this isn't about throwing out all the other advice. Hydration, movement, good sleep posture, they all help. But if you've been doing those things and still waking up in pain, it might be time to think deeper. Not louder, not harder, just smarter.
So, what's actually going on inside your body at 3 a.m.? Let's pull back the curtain. By 3 o'clock in the morning, your body is usually in its deepest stage of sleep, called slow wave sleep, or NREM stage 3. This is when your muscles are the most relaxed. Your breathing slows, blood pressure drops, your brain waves slow way down, and everything feels still. But here's the twist. Even though your body is at rest, your nervous system, the one that controls your muscles, is still active, constantly maintaining balance between two forces: the go signals that tell muscles to contract, and the stop signals that tell them to relax.
These signals flow through complex loops between your brain, your spinal cord, and tiny sensors inside your muscles. And most of the time, they keep everything in perfect sync. But sometimes, especially during this ultra-deep sleep, that balance slips. Your muscle spindles might overfire, telling your calf to tighten, while the inhibitory reflex, the one that should say stop, falls asleep before you do. The result? A rogue contraction, an intense, involuntary squeeze that locks your muscle in place, like a Charlie horse with a mind of its own. And since your body is totally relaxed during deep sleep, there's no counterforce to balance it out. You feel it instantly, sharp, intense, uncontrollable. That's why nocturnal cramps don't build up slowly. They strike like lightning. But wait, why the calves? Why not your arms or shoulders? It's because of two things. Gravity. When you're lying down, especially on your back, your feet often point downward slightly. This is called plantar flexion. That position gently stretches the calf muscle and keeps it primed to fire. Circulation. As we age, blood flow to the extremities becomes less efficient, especially at night. Poor circulation means muscles don't clear waste products as easily, making them more irritable. Put those together, and your calves become a perfect target. And here's something most people never think about. Your sleep stage matters. Cramps almost never strike during REM sleep, when your body is paralyzed. But in deep NREM sleep, you're relaxed but not paralyzed. The nervous system is still sending signals. The reflexes are active, but slower. It's a vulnerable moment, a window of imbalance. And that window? It often lands between 2:30 and 4 a.m., right around the time when most people report their worst cramps. So no, it's not random. It's not bad luck. It's biology. Your nerves, your sleep stage, your muscle position, all lining up, just wrong enough to cause pain. But here's the good news. Now that we know how it happens, we can start asking the more important question: can we stop it? Is there something you can do, something real, something proven, that can restore that delicate balance between contraction and relaxation? Something that actually works while you sleep? As it turns out, there just might be. And it's not magnesium, it's not quinine, it's not stretching. It's something most people have never heard of, but that recent clinical trials say could be a game changer. Let's talk about it next.
Let's go back to that 3 a.m. moment for a second. You're frozen in pain. Your calf is locked. Your brain is wide awake, but helpless. And by the time it's over, you're exhausted, anxious, and robbed of sleep. You've probably tried the usual advice: more water, more stretching, maybe a magnesium supplement or two. And yet the cramps keep coming. So, here's the million-dollar question. Is there anything out there that actually works and is backed by science? In early 2024, a study seemed to answer that question with a bold yes. A randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial published in JAMA Internal Medicine, one of the most respected medical journals, made headlines in the medical community. The researchers tested a supplement called vitamin K2 in the form of menaquinone 7, or MK7, on a group of 199 adults over 65 who suffered from frequent nighttime leg cramps. Half the group took 180 micrograms of MK7 daily. The other half got a placebo. The results? Staggering. The people taking K2 experienced a 63% reduction in cramp frequency, less pain, shorter duration, and no serious side effects. It was called a breakthrough. It gave hope to millions. But as with all things in science, the story didn't end there. In May 2025, just months after the study gained traction, JAMA Internal Medicine issued a retraction and replacement of the original article. Now, let's be clear. This does not mean the entire study was fake or useless, but it does mean that the original version contained enough issues that the editors felt it necessary to pull it and publish a corrected version. What kind of issues? Questions around how participants were randomized, ambiguities in how results were reported, statistical inconsistencies, concerns about whether the study group represented the general population, especially since many participants had low BMI or underlying conditions like diabetes. So, what does that mean for you? It means we need to be cautious. This isn't a miracle. It's an ongoing scientific conversation. So, could K2 still help? Maybe. The corrected version of the study still shows some signs of benefit, but the numbers have changed. And many researchers are now calling for larger, independent studies before drawing conclusions. We also know that vitamin K2 plays a key role in calcium regulation, not just in bones, but potentially in soft tissues like muscles and nerves. This gives the idea biological plausibility, but we can't say with certainty that it prevents or treats night cramps, yet. So, here's the honest truth. Vitamin K2 is a promising lead, not a proven cure. The science is still evolving, and anyone claiming it's a guaranteed fix isn't telling you the full story. Why this still matters? Because what you just saw, a bold claim, followed by correction, followed by honest uncertainty, is science working the way it's supposed to. It's not a flaw, it's a feature. Science doesn't hand out guarantees. It asks questions, runs experiments, and constantly challenges itself. And you deserve to know not just the headlines, but the story behind them. So if you're waking up in pain, desperate for answers, yes, bring up vitamin K2 with your doctor. Yes, watch the research evolve. But don't stop asking questions. Don't stop learning. Because the truth isn't in the hype. It's in the search. And that search is just getting started.
So, what are the next steps you can take starting tonight? First, and this is important, always talk to your doctor or a licensed healthcare provider before starting any new supplement, including vitamin K2. Everyone's body is different, and they can help you figure out what's best for your health situation. Second, if you'd like to read the actual 2024 study for yourself, I've included a link in the description below, along with trusted sources for high-quality K2 in its MK7 form. And finally, if this video gave you clarity, if it gave you hope, hit that like button. It really helps more people find this information. If you want more content that goes deeper than headlines and actually explains the science behind your health, hit subscribe. There are more deep dives coming. Thanks for watching. Here's to better nights and calmer mornings.
So maybe it's still happening. You're watching this video because you're tired, literally, of waking up in pain. And maybe you're thinking, okay, I get the science, I get the research, but what can I do tonight, right now, to lower my chances of getting another cramp? Let's break it down into 5 simple steps you can start using immediately. Stretch smart, not just more. Before bed, do a gentle calf stretch, holding each leg for at least 30 seconds. But here's the trick. Don't bounce. Hold. Breathe. Let the muscles settle.
Also, stretch your hamstrings and feet. Everything's connected. Do this right before you climb into bed. Not an hour before, not while brushing your teeth. Make it the very last thing you do. Stay hydrated, but not overhydrated. Yes, drink water throughout the day, but avoid chugging large amounts right before sleep. This might just send you to the bathroom at 3 a.m. instead of cramping at 3 a.m. Hydration helps, but only when consistent. Adjust your sleeping position. Try propping your feet up slightly with a pillow under your calves. Avoid letting your toes point downward. This puts your calves in a position that makes cramping more likely. Plantar flexion. Side sleepers, make sure your bottom leg isn't curled too tightly. Talk to your doctor about vitamin K2. Don't self-diagnose. Don't just go buy something because a video said so. But do bring this up with your doctor, especially if you're over 50 and experience regular night cramps. Ask about MK7, the exact form used in the 2024 clinical trial. And make sure it won't interfere with any medications you're currently taking. If they're unfamiliar with the research, share it. Links in the description. You might be the first patient to bring it to their attention, and that's okay. Track what works for you. Keep a 7-day cramp journal. Log your sleep, water intake, activity level, what you ate, when the cramps hit. Patterns will emerge. Maybe you always cramp on days you sit too long. Maybe it's worse after alcohol. Maybe it's always the right leg. Awareness is power. It turns a mystery into a system you can understand, and eventually, control. Bottom line, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. And every little shift you make tonight gets you one step closer to pain-free sleep tomorrow. Because you deserve more than just putting up with it. You deserve a night without fear. A night of real rest. A night where 3 a.m. means nothing at all.